welcome to episode 1 of my Birdsong lessons. Here we go. I hope you're excited and ready. Before we get started, please check out my introduction video if you've not already. It just contains some top tips, a bit of advice and some recommendations of apps and websites and books and things that I found particularly useful when starting to learn birdsong completely from scratch. Right, let's jump straight in. Are you ready?
Aye, Captain!
Okay, so the first songster we're going to meet in this series is a really familiar face in our gardens, in our parks, in our green spaces. You all know him. It is the Blackbird. It is named after the male of the species, so he has that gorgeous jet black plumage and that yellow golden eye ring and yellow beak to match. Mwah! Gorgeous. Just, beautiful. What a colour scheme. Simple, elegant, wonderful. The females are brown all over and they have a little bit of speckling, quite subtle. Also very sexy. Love a female blackbird. The juveniles look like the ladies to begin with, and then as they mature, they head over to the males. So, beautiful bird, really familiar. You see them everywhere. They hop around. They love guzzling a worm.
Hey.
And you can often hear them rooting in the undergrowth. Okay, so blackbirds. Now, I did mention in my introduction video that winter, weirdly, is a really good time to start on the journey of learning birdsong, and that's because there's only a few very vocal songsters on the block. And although it's perhaps a tad too early for blackbirds to start singing, they will be doing very soon, and I have heard a couple starting to gear up in the last couple of weeks or so. Now, according to all the guides, blackbirds start singing in March, but in the good old terrifying days of global warming, they are singing earlier and earlier each year. So last year I had my first blackbird singing in January, so by all means they're literally around the corner. Now, if you want to see a blackbird and then hear a blackbird singing, the best place you're going to be able to look is kind of any green space nearby you. So it might be a garden if you're lucky enough to have one. It might be local park, green space, anywhere like that. Blackbirds are really obvious songsters in that they love a good prominent perch. They like to be really high up and then holler out over the rooftops, the treetops, wherever they are. So if you look out places like rooftops, some aerials, sometimes on phone wires, big tall trees, they tend to be quite high up, and from there they will be belting out their song. So, identifying their song, what does it sound like? What I'm going to do is play a little bit of song using that Xenocanto website that I mentioned in my introduction, and then I'm just going to tell you how I interpret it, what it sounds like to me, and the funny and interesting ways I have of remembering that the songster is the blackbird. Right, here we go, songster number 1. Very good, very nice. Now, if you listen to that, the first thing you'll notice about the blackbird's song is it's quite deep. So it's got quite a deep tone and it's quite kind of mournful. If you listen to that, the tone is really quite keen listening to a blackbird. And as with a lot of birds, it has a very set structure to its song. So even though each little bit of song, each little ditty, as it were, is slightly different, it has this structure of singing, and then pausing, and then it'll come around and sing again, and then pause. So it repeats this again and again: sing, pause, sing, pause, and it'll do that for ages. So that's a really important thing to listen out for. Now, the way that Blackbird stuck in my head, and the thing that a wonderful volunteer called Colin told me of how to remember Blackbird's song, is that it sounds like a mindless old bloke down the bottom of the garden just whistling. So if I play that again, that tone is just like a male adult human, that deep tone of a whistle. Not really any particular tune or song, he's just whistling away, perhaps potting around down the bottom of the garden, having a little whistle to himself. So it's... You're going to learn to hate my bird impressions, by the way. So that's how I remember it. You'll pick it out straight away. So although it's not got that tune, it's just got that really distinct deep tone. It sings, pauses, and it sounds like an old bloke whistling. That's how I remember Blackbird. So there we go. Bird number 1 of Birdsong lessons covered. Hopefully now from that little description you'll be able to start picking it out when you hear it. And top tips, as I mentioned in my introduction video, is perhaps set a blackbird as your ringtone, your alarm tone. It's very pleasant to wake up to, actually. And it just helps get it in your head so that when you're out in the field, you're like, oh, I know what that is. So yeah, hopefully that's been helpful. Like I said, if you've any questions or any thoughts or anything you find particularly useful, if you've got a way of remembering Blackbird, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching. Please do subscribe if you've not already, and follow me because I will be bringing back the next birdsong very soon. Thanks very much for watching, and bye!